coffee gist, and something very interesting caught my eye on social media. So it's actually a sad one because a 19-year-old was actually, I mean, had to literally have his legs and fingers amputated because he had leftovers from a Chinese restaurant. I mean, he had leftover Chinese food. I'm not sure it was from a Chinese restaurant. And it was really a sad incident because he actually worked at the restaurant. So probably after, I mean, the day was over, he just had some of the leftover, and it was just really, really sad.
Two things, that I take from that story. First of all, did he get poisoning from the food or from the mix of food? Because there's certain mixes that if you actually have together that you can get poisoning from. Only this one, I don't understand how you could get sepsis from eating something.
So it actually says, the report actually says it was actually from the food. The food was contaminated.
So you can get sepsis, actually infection in the blood.
In the blood.
Yeah.
So
So does this mean the person who had it before also had the same thing?
Oh, well, there's that question, to be honest, when I thought about it. But then again, it depends, all right, because it was leftovers, right? So probably the food created for the day, and it probably stayed out for a while.
Exactly, you don't know how long.
And all of that. So it actually begs the question, how do we preserve our food? Also considering the fact that in Nigeria right now, we're dealing with power issues. If someone is saying by the end of this year, a power issue will be a past story, but I wouldn't want to go in there. And then secondly, how do we preserve our food?
There's something that I do which is actually wrong. Like in the morning, if at all I have breakfast in the morning and I can't finish it, I just tuck it inside of the microwave, close it, and then come back like 12 hours later and I eat it. You know, but I learned that it's actually very, very wrong.
How will you remember to anchor?
It's actually very, very dangerous because we do that all the time, especially here. No power, nothing. Just go there, and I don't normally warm it before I even start eating it again. I'm just rude like that.
I would never understand how people
How men. Oh, God, you got me.
No, not just men, actually, but how people eat cold food. I can't eat cold
Which is very interesting.
It has to be
And
at least warm.
I prefer,
it has to be steaming hot.
I prefer my noodles absolutely dead cold.
Ew.
I prefer it dead cold. It's
when
like a cake.
All like
No, when it's stiff, kicked up. Exactly, like you cut it up and eat it. But the other thing that I noticed in that story is this, that guy was actually at the restaurant. He worked at the restaurant and was having leftovers, which means that he kind of like in need, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It reminds me of a story of a friend of mine. His name was Charles, best friend growing up. He left the country very early when we were 16 or 17 because he had to go school abroad, and he funded himself, comes from a very modest background. However, 20 years later, we reconnected, and I said to him, why did you do that? You just left and then you never called or anything. And he said, if I tell you my story, you wouldn't believe it. He said when he got there, he had to work in a restaurant where he could eat leftover food.
Yeah. So it's actually
years.
Yes.
So it's
so obviously he didn't have an option. He literally had to eat it. Now, so the issue of even though you were talking about microwave, so that is even like out of it totally. Some people think that when you finish eating your food, you can toss it in the fridge. As long as it's in the fridge, it's okay.
You get salmonella.
Exactly. There's still a serious problem with that. Now I'm really concerned about this because now we're dealing with light, we're dealing with fuel issues, and of course we know, then if you went to Federal University, you know that you can warm stew for 1 week. Just keep on warming it, and in your mind you believe as long as you're warming it is good. But then again, I think we need to pay close attention because honestly, reading the story, not too long ago I spoke about it, how I had food poisoning and all of that. It's actually not different. The things that not too different. Difference is just our reaction to certain things. So we need to definitely.
How do you take care of yours? How do you go around that?
Well, like I said, so first off, food preservation is key. Making sure that your food is stored in a closely tight lid in the freezer. It has to be refrigerated. Well, now that there is no power, if you're for some of us, constant power. For some of us who runs, generator or inverters, we wouldn't have a problem. But there are people who actually don't, and then there are some of them who, you get back from work, you've been away from home for all day, and then you get home, and then you're taking the food out of the fridge, and then it's somewhat getting spoiled. It's not there yet, but it's already there.
You know, but you're like
smelling odd.
Is it
just like that, Jerry? There's nothing else to eat. Well, some people are in that position, but just properly, if you have to, it's important that you properly heat up that food. Heat it up.
Kill it.
It's drying, because
Yes.
drying is also a way of preservation.
Yes, you
And also-
really have to heat it up, to
Yeah.
make sure that, all of that, bacteria is to some.
But what
to
about
large
if it's just
extent is-
vegetables and like salads and
That's
stuff
even
like that?
worse.
That's
Don't
worse.
eat
Even
it.
worse, exactly. They don't eat it
I
anymore.
learned recently that the fridge itself, you're supposed to store things differently in there,
Definitely,
according
because of
to
The temperature.
Yes,
the
'cause
temperature.
there's a different
It gets
range of
it gets cooler at the
At the
top,
top,
because
yes.
you're closer to the freezer, and then
Yes.
it's not warmer but less cooler
Yeah,
down the
down
bottom
there.
where you're supposed to put all your vegetables and everything, because they're alive. So you
Yes.
just want to cool them and all.
Yes.
So maybe one day I'm going to show everybody or tell how exactly you should store, what you should store where: eggs, cans, vegetables, meat.
Cans. Please
We
don't
don't pay-
store, don't
yeah,
store open
open
cans.
cans.
Once you
Yeah.
pop it, toss it.
Or
Don't.
better still, just pour the contents into
something
a
else.
plastic bowl and then
Emem.
you cover it. Yes.
Something is distracting. Did you get your teeth done?
Wow.
You
We have to
did.
go on a quick break now.
Oh my
people.
God.
Stay with us. And let us know, how do you preserve your food, people? We'll be right back.
And she's smiling, very big smile. Take notes.